Hello traders, welcome to the weekly Algo Setups, volume 298. Iliya here. As always, we're gonna jump into the markets, have a look what happened this week, how we could have flowed with the markets, and of course try to draw some forecasts for the incoming week. So without further ado, let's have a look at the news for next week and then jump into the technicals. So having a look at the economic calendar, Monday, no news. So Monday, very likely, as usual, I tend to leave Mondays to just play out. Although in the recent times, because there are a lot of developments during the weekend, Monday always tends to do something crazy these days. Then on Tuesday, only CAD news. Interesting. Wednesday, we have some NZD interest rates here. So if you're trading NZD dollar, watch out for that. GBP CPI, very important. And then we have the FOMC meeting minutes, which is usually not very volatile because it's just like the minutes, right? So nothing new is said, but sometimes it also tends to be pretty volatile, but it's also pretty late, so not trading at that time. And then pretty much the highlight of this week is Thursday. So we're having all the PMIs here, and then of course for the USD as well, unemployment claims and the PMIs and existing wholesales. And then this Jackson Hole Symposium is also starting here. I can see day 1, day 2, day 3. So that can definitely cause a little bit of volatility, especially on Friday, because you can see it's actually red impact here. And also Mr. Powell is speaking on Friday. But so generally there is always that 1 week that doesn't have a lot of USD news and it only has these PMIs. And a lot of times I think, okay, so Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday are not going to do anything. And then Thursday is going to move. But I remember last month, the week that we had that one, Monday move, Tuesday move, Wednesday move, amazing moves, and then pretty much Thursday and Friday did nothing. So again, everybody, don't have expectations of the market. Don't draw forecasts even without the market having opened. Just show up every day, perform your analysis, trade your setups, and that's it. Just repeat, rinse, repeat, rinse. Alright, as usual, let's get started with the DXY. Now, first of all, let's reverse engineer it because this is something that I have been doing for a while now and I kind of like it. But again, the main aim is for all of you to learn how to flow with the markets because they are unpredictable, they are driven on sentiment, and anything that you say today is going to be potentially completely different tomorrow. But what I overall expected is for the market, because it failed that hourly bearish imbalance, I thought we could, of course, take this high as liquidity, take this high as liquidity. I have wrote on week high here. Tap us into the daily imbalance and then to potentially flush towards the liquidity, which is, again, what eventually ended up happening. However, on Monday, we had an absolutely crazy wick. So do you also guys have it? I thought this is going to get fixed, but it didn't get fixed. I guess it's real massive manipulation here. And then, yes, the market pretty much ended up rolling down. And then, of course, after this is met, because basically the outlook that I give you potentially could happen on Monday and Tuesday, then all you have to do is you have to know how to flow with the market and how to capitalize on the further move. So nice breakdown here, nice overall development. A lot of amazing trades by my community this week on EU and GU. I'm having a very small profitable week just trading gold, and gold was pretty choppy. Now let's see, DXY on the weekly time frame, we don't have much. We are still stuck kind of within that bigger range. Doesn't want to go down very nicely, doesn't want to go up as well, so kind of really 50-50. You can see the daily time frame right now. I do see lower highs are being created, so overall I am a little bit more bearish than I'm bullish, just looking at the market structure. But no imbalances on the daily, very sluggish kind of price action, not really committing. Like it always tends to do this kind of massive move up, and then if they go, are we gonna go up, massive move down, massive move up, and then massive move down. It is kind of moving in a very big macro bearish structure. If you just zoom out a little bit, you're gonna see the short sellers are kind of in control. But again, as you know, I do focus on structure, but structure is my second priority because my first priority is momentum and the imbalances. Now you can see here, just towards kind of the end of the week, we had this these hourly bearish imbalances being created, and the market very quickly pinged it and very massively reversed from here. Beautiful trade here on a Friday, beautiful short. And then the market pulls back and it closes with nothing. So pretty much right now, the most recent liquidity point is going to be this low. And even if you want a low hanging fruit, it's going to be that one. I am more bearish. However, right now, starting on Monday, for example, we do not have a zone to work with, because this zone, that was kind of the only zone that there is one above as well, but not extremely relevant right now. When the zone got taken right now, I would be expecting for the market to be heading for potentially further liquidity points down there. So of course, as usual, everybody, scenarios, okay? The market can do absolutely anything it wants. It can open up with a massive gap up there, and then, of course, you will have to flow, okay? I am more bearish, so I would love to see something just like that. So potentially for the market to give us a little bit of a pullback and then flush, taking out the liquidity. And then what I would truly want to see is Is it going to be staying below these liquidity points? Is it going to be breaking them with new hourly bearish imbalances here? Okay. Or is it gonna sweep them and reverse and then attack the opposing side? Okay. So those are kind of the two scenarios that I would have for the DXY, because I'm always thinking in terms of scenarios. However, this time I am more bearish. Unfortunately, I don't have zones to work with. I don't have a daily zone. I don't have a 4-hourly zone. Even I don't have a 1-hourly zone to work with right now. So in situations like this, what you really have to do is just wait. Wait to see if the market's gonna start guiding you lower. You go lower and you attack the liquidity. If it starts guiding you higher, you go higher and you also attack the opposing side of the liquidity. It's literally that easy. And by the way, I am about to be releasing a mini boot camp. So this is probably going to get released in the next week. So make sure to watch out for that. It's absolutely going to be amazing. And I'm going to teach you literally how I trade within 5 hours. So watch out for that. But there is the DXY. I'm bearish bias. I just want to see some new zones to be created to the downside, and then to potentially either continue following it lower, or if it turns into a sweep, then I'm going to be attacking the opposing side of liquidity. So let's see. Here is my EUR/USD outlook overall. So we kind of, again, you can see we didn't have many zones to, we didn't really have any zones to work with. There was an extremely small one. And then I said, okay, let's see if is the market going to break above here, create an imbalance, and then potentially guide me into the liquidity, or is the market going to break lower, guide me into the daily, and then what is it going to do from the daily? Is it going to respect the daily to drive towards the liquidity, or is it going to disrespect the daily towards the opposing side of the liquidity? Do you see? I had potentially all the scenarios, and you can see, for example, this scenario played out here. This one would have played out if the market clearly stayed above that zone and created imbalances above it. But the market took some liquidity, pulls back into the daily, absolutely beautiful, beautiful longs into that high here. My community crushed EUR/USD longs, and then they even crushed EUR/USD shorts. I kind of regret it not trading EU, but I'm currently doing a little experiment. So yeah, this is it. Of course, the market came in a little bit bearish right here, but then it came in, reacted, and broke the reaction. And then literally after this candle here, you're having that what I call no struggle area to literally be trading very nicely towards the liquidity. So beautiful, beautiful outlook on EU. So right now, let's see what is the current situation. Of course, if I'm more bearish on the DXY, I should be more bullish on EU. And yeah, I mean, the weekly candle is not the best. It is definitely bullish. We're having a body closure above the previous weekly high, which is great. On the daily time frame, we're having that daily bullish market structure and daily bullish order flow. And this is where, for example, a member of the Fanatics asked me in the comments, like, if structure right now is bearish on you, aren't you gonna be looking for shorts? And then I said, well, no, I'm only gonna look for shorts if the momentum shifts lower. Why? Well, because again, from the downside here, daily bullish, that was a beautiful long. This was your trade of the week, from that daily imbalance to the daily liquidity. Okay, and if you got stuck on trading shorts, if you got stuck on trying to trade from supply zones right there, you got burned this week and you didn't really capitalize on the longs. Okay, so currently it is very interesting once again, because we did not make a new daily bullish imbalance, so we just took out liquidity from here and we pulled back. But then Friday gives us a nice bullish day. That kind of makes me think, okay, are we going to attack that liquidity here? Definitely could be. However, I really need to see something on the 4-hourly time frame, which is a little problem that we don't have much. We didn't have one on the DXY. And here what we have is we actually do have the buyers taking control. If you carefully have a look here, we're having a couple of 4-hourly bullish imbalances, and the market kind of really stopped just very close. Did it actually take it? Yeah, it literally pinged it. So this is the target that I told my community to be looking for on Friday. I said, well, everybody, the market looks like longs today. However, do not target more than the Asian range high from yesterday. And there was a beautiful Friday trade here from this 1-hourly zone right there. The market pulled back into it, taps in beautifully into the liquidity. So, so many trades. I mean, EU, so many trades. This short, absolutely smashed by the community. These longs here, there was a long here, absolutely smashed. There was a long after the CPI, absolutely smashed. So many great trades on EU this week. Now, what are we going to do next week? Well, I like longs. However, I always need some sort of a pullback into a zone. Right now, like all we have is this 4-hourly zone. Now, am I going to expect something like that? Not really. Why? Because I don't think it's efficient for price to be making that big of a pullback. So if I just put a fib right there, again, like it's going to be perfectly the 50% fib. But if you study the best trades, you're going to see that they never pull back to 50%. Well, not never. They're only going to pull back to 50% if there is a hard time frame imbalance. Like when the market pushed here, did it pull back 50%? No. When the market pushed here again, by the time it kind of pulled back to the 50%, it reversed. Okay, when it pushed down there, by the time it pulled back to 50%, it also reversed. So you're always going to be on the wrong side, just simply looking at these premium and discount ranges. Okay, so how I would actually want to really see that is, again, opening up a little bit bearish and then giving me some sort of a bullish confirmation, a bullish zone to potentially look to attack that high. Okay, now if it really comes down to that volatility zone, then I really have to evaluate. Coming into that volatility zone, do we have a lot of bearishness on the volatility time frame? Do we have a lot of bearishness on the 1 hourly time frame? And are really sellers taking control right now? And then of course you can do so many things. Like my approach, my market understanding is so flexible, okay, because it can happen it can do so many things, right? You can trade failures here. There's the market tapping in, showing signs of failure, drop on the lower time frames. When the market breaks below that low, you capitalize on the to the shorts towards the next objective here. Okay, then the market doesn't make anything bearish here, so there is nothing to stop it. Then you look for the lower time frames, you capitalize on the longs into the liquidity. So there's so many things that could happen, because if the market prints a bearish here, I'm literally gonna watch, okay, is it gonna hold for me to take shorts, or is it gonna break for me to take longs into the next liquidity? But then this is so much kind of further in time during that week that I do not know what is going to happen and how is it going to happen. So right now I can tell you I am definitely more long bias. However, I need the zone. I need the zone, and I don't have a zone. There is a very little 1 hourly zone here that can definitely pop price. However, I am going to be needing a little bit more confirmation, some breaks above that high, and then if we do get that, I will look to trade towards that liquidity. And then what happens after that liquidity is taken, we just gotta flow, because you don't know. So overall bullish bias on EU. Unfortunately, no clear zones to be more precise from where I want to be trading from. GBP USD, absolutely beautiful. My community also absolutely crushed the pound this week because it was a lot stronger than EU. Again, scenarios, everybody. We were tapping into that daily reactionary here to the left, and I was like, okay, let's see who's gonna take control. The market taps into the daily. It actually sold off a little bit, but then it taps us into the daily bullish. Now, why is the daily bullish more important than the daily bearish? Because the daily bullish is the most recent momentum. So for the people with the PD ranges here and with market structure here breaking below, well, guess what? You were absolutely on the wrong side of the direction, and I was wrong for that for such a long time. You're having a massive pump here. The market pulls back 50%. Oh, stop loss. Why did it reverse? Then the market goes down 50%. Okay, this one worked out. Okay, probably there was some sort of a daily zone, but you're constantly like on the wrong side of the market. 50% stop loss. Like, why? So again, if you take that from me, focus more on momentum. So then the market pulled back into that daily zone, and then from there it just absolutely ripped. Beautiful. Actually, there was even a short trade on Monday that some of my people took, tapping into the daily, giving us the long setups right there. Beautiful setup right here towards the liquidity. Beautiful setups even here just after the CPI day expanded, and then the market chopped. Beautiful short setup here on Thursday, and then Friday was, I think, no trades on Friday, I think, on GU. But anyway, beautiful week. Where did we go eventually? Towards the liquidity here. How did we know the market's gonna get there? Well, just read the daily. All right, just read the daily. Daily bullish imbalances coming from a monthly. No, this is not the monthly zone. This is yeah, we just missed that one. Maybe with another broker we did tap it, but pretty bullish. Now we have taken liquidity, which is very important liquidity. That is a weekly swing point, so we can expect some sort of a pullback, and we already got the pullback on Thursday, so we actually shorted on Thursday. And currently I really like GUY because it's kind of the only pair that actually has a daily zone. So right now I can say, well, if I see the volatility time frame guide me lower, I'm going to be looking to tap into that daily zone. But if the volatility time frame starts guiding me higher, I'm immediately going to be looking for the next liquidity. So this one is already taken. Let me mark it green. So dropping on the volatility time frame here, a little bit of a mix up because we're having like bearish to the left, and then we're having a little bit of a bullish here, very small. When they're that small, I don't even draw them. Very interesting here. So again, what you need right here in this precise situation is you need to know how to flow with the markets and how to read candle anatomy and how to read price action, because we do not know. The market can do so many things right here. It can pull back, it can give us the longs, it can attack the liquidity. It can already pop higher, give us 1 hourly bullishness, it can attack the liquidity. It can come into the volatility bullish, tap, show us signs of failure, attack liquidity one, attack liquidity two. Okay, so that's going to be liquidity number one. Okay, so those are the three scenarios that I can be looking for. So it's either just going to go higher into the liquidity, and then from there we don't know. Okay, because is it going to break, is it going to sweep, is it going to create imbalances, is it not going to create? These are all things that of course are within my approach. So I kind of I'm pretty confident to say that I always know what I'm going to be looking for, because I know if I'm going to be looking for a trade, I don't know if I'm not going to be looking for a trade, if there is nothing. And this gives me so much confidence and so much calmness in my trading as well. But of course, how I transition to that is by simply accepting that forecasts just suck, and all you have to do is just flow with the markets. And this is what I teach my members to do as well. So there it is. That's GU. Hourly zone, we can engage from that. Is this hourly zone going to be responsible for the market to push higher? We're going to trade it higher, provided we actually start getting the signs. If that hourly fails here, then this is going to mean that this low here is weak. The market is going to attack it as liquidity, and then literally the next liquidity point is going to be the daily. And then from the daily, again, is the market going to react, break, and go bearish, or is it going to react, reverse, and go bullish? Again, we do not know, but this is way far in time into this week. So that is GU. I would say I'm more bullish biased just because GBP is strong, the DXY is overall weak right now. So I kind of stick more towards shorts DXY and longs EU and GU, but we really need to see that clear setup and to really see the signs that it actually wants to go higher. Alrighty, Aussie dollar, this choppy pair that I never touch, I still did some sort of a markup right there. So we either again tap into that daily zone. Is this daily zone really? Yeah, there was actually a daily zone. So the market kind of tapped in, but you can see it never gave us signs that it actually wants to go higher. It was pretty choppy. And then it rushed into the lower zone, which was my next target. And then, of course, you keep asking the questions. Okay, so are we going to go lower here? Are we going to fail that daily? Or are we going to respond from it? Well, in that case, if you drop to the lower time frames, you see that it's starting to respond. And then the market actually went higher from the daily, showing you again where the market wants to go. All you had to do is just wait 2 days to then get that forward imbalance, to then expose that towards the liquidity, and then bingo. There is your trade. So if you only, I promise, this is what I always tell my traders, you are going to get 2 amazing setups every single week. So if you're patient, if you actually wait for them, you can be making 4 hours per week. Okay, if you just wait for these setups. But of course, we have different trading plans and stuff, but very nice here, pulling back into that daily. And again, there it first took up the first liquidity that I marked up, pulls back into that, takes the second one, then it even makes another zone right there and goes for the final one, and then it just absolutely dumped. Okay, there was no quality bullish imbalance created. There was absolutely nothing to stop the market and push it higher. Probably some sort of news right there, because that's a massive dump. It went all the way down. No, it missed the liquidity. So, okay, so this kind of makes it really interesting for me right now. What is it going to do? But I mean, just look at that choppy price action. I mean, it still offered opportunities on the lower time frames. Like gold was extremely choppy this week, but there were still winning trades. Now, let's check it out. We tapped into that daily here. The market did its job, but it failed to really follow through and make anything new bullish. So then this, to me, this is going to be a weak low. However, the market did not make any daily bearish imbalance as well. So inside bar, so very 50-50. Again, it is definitely going to be a decision point next week. So again, we can see here we actually really flushed here very badly. Very nice flush. Sells are always better than longs because sells happen a lot faster. We're tapping into these forwardly bearish zones, and at the same time we are not having anything forwardly bullish. Okay, so even though I was like a little bit more longs on GU, longs on EU, this one not as much. Okay, so I'm going to give you 2 scenarios once again. I do like the shorts on AU a little bit more because it doesn't have anything on the daily. According to me, this low here should be liquidity. I should not really say should. Okay, that's a really wrong thing of me to say. However, we are either going to push lower, create some sort of an imbalance. It can already even do that. The first thing on Monday, it can do like a forwardly imbalance. And then maybe pull back into it. I don't know how it's going to develop. I'm not... you know, I don't have the golden, what is it called? Anyway, this is the short scenario. We just flush towards the liquidity. However, if the market gives us some long setups and potentially breaks above that high with a bullish, then we can target this high here. Okay, so we can target a next resistance area. So these are kind of the two scenarios, because if the DXY picks up the shorts and if EUG go long, Aussie dollar usually kind of tends to pick up from that direction, although it's definitely a different kind of a currency that has its own agenda as well. But these are kind of the two scenarios that I would have. I do prefer the shorts a little bit more, simply because to me this is not a reversal here, because it does not have like any bullish imbalances. So if the market really makes a little bit more bearishness here and shows me that it wants to commit lower, then I'm going to be looking for a short trade into the liquidity. And then what happens after that, I don't know. Okay. However, if the market immediately invalidates a foully bearish and starts popping higher, breaks above that structure, I'm going to look for a long to target the next resistance. And then what happens afterwards? Is it going to make new bullish to long? Is it going to invalidate to short? We don't know. Okay, we're going to see that as the market develops. So this is Aussie dollar. Not looking bad. I am liking shorts a little bit more, which does not align with my overall bias on the DXY. But of course, let's see how it's going to play out. NZD dollar, another kind of these shitty but interesting pairs. So it pulled back into that daily, but again, it didn't really give us any signs that it wanted to go higher. Then it actually broke below, showing us that this daily is failing with a little foully bearish, and then eventually it went to that liquidity level that I had marked from last week. And then again, as I always keep telling you, so I can, again, this is why I kind of can say confidently that I almost always know where the market's going to go, but then I don't know what it's going to do later. So of course, I told you in that day, let's say if that daily zone fails, well, I'm going to be looking for the liquidity. But then after the liquidity gets taken, is the market really going to continue below it, or is it going to sweep it in reverse? Because in that case, it came and swept it and immediately reversed, showed me the bullishness again, followed bullish imbalance. Then where is it going to go? Liquidity on the other side, bingo, right? And into that daily imbalance. Then why do you stop looking for longs from here? Well, because we're tapping into a massive daily resistance. We've already taken liquidity. You could have tried here. Actually, Aussie dollar gave a win. It kind of popped the liquidity. NZD/USD did not, okay? And then NZD/USD was a lot weaker. Why? Because NZD/USD attacked the opposing side of the liquidity. AU did not. So you can clearly see within the price action that NZD/USD was weaker in that case. So let's see what are we going to be doing. Ooh, it's definitely weaker. It even has a daily bearish imbalance. Now, I do like it more. So if you're looking for shorts, I kind of like NZD more. Dropping onto the quality time frame, so we have that daily above us, okay, but we also tapped into this quality bullish that the market is already pushing away from. So two scenarios here, once again, very similar to the Aussie dollar. We either pop lower into that liquidity, and then again, what is going to happen below here? I don't know. Is it going to stay below, break below, and continue pushing lower for me to short? Amazing. Is it going to sweep it and reverse and then guide me into the daily imbalance? Amazing. We don't know, however. Okay, so it can definitely do something like that. I want it to be perfect. Okay, there we go, something like that. Or we open, we invalidate the new foully bearish imbalance, okay, pop us into the daily, and then from the daily, maybe we sell off, maybe we don't know, okay. I really like shorts on NZD/USD, honestly, okay. Daily bearish imbalance, a lot weaker than Aussie dollar. Bearish overall structure, I can say. Yeah, very nice Thursday candle. A lot of liquidity to be exposed to the downside. I like the shorts. However, let's see how they're going to play out. On the 1 hourly time frame, it's already popping. However, I will never kind of make an outlook on Saturday or Sunday and then jump immediately first thing on Monday, okay. I would wait. If the market starts guiding me lower, I will find the setup towards that low. And if the market starts guiding me higher, I just better wait for it to tap the daily. And then from there, is it going to give me short setups to target the liquidity? Great. Is it going to fail? I'm going to target the higher levels. So let's say this is NZD/USD. I honestly preferred it over Aussie dollar for the shorts. Let's see how it's going to play out. All right, let's check out gold. On gold this week, I took a stop loss on a Monday and then a take profit on a Monday. So I finished profitable and then I took a break even somewhere within that chop. So literally, again, here, what I have a bearish outlook. Yeah. So yeah, literally the market opened up and definitely sold off towards my next liquidity. Okay, so kind of this got achieved exactly on the open. So again, you can see my kind of outlook, where really, again, the edges and where you really do learn the most is, of course, within my community, where I do these every single day. And of course, you can see how we flow and how high probability and how high win rate also the outlooks are having. So then I shorted somewhere here. I did take some shorts somewhere right there towards that daily. Yeah, I was targeting the daily, so I took some shorts within here. One was a stop loss because I got an ugly stop loss. And then the other one was a very nice 1.5R. And then from there, look at that. Then from there, we just got choppy. Why? Because gold is a sentiment kind of instrument. It's really based on that risk on, risk off. It thrives on uncertainty. It thrives on when everything else is falling. But right now, if you have a look at the overall market, okay, you need to have a little bit more market awareness. The cryptos are all-time highs. Ethereum, Bitcoin, all-time highs. Indices, all-time highs. Okay, even some currencies like the yen are getting a lot of money poured into. So what happens with gold? Gold consolidates. When did gold thrive the most? In the peak of the uncertainty here. Okay, so what is happening right now? Well, we're starting to wedge a little bit. We're really compressed. We are waiting for the next uncertainty, or if the market really starts booming, for example, for stocks, maybe it can go a little bit lower. So a pretty choppy time, honestly, for gold. However, did we get the setup? We did. We had a daily bearish imbalance. The market pulled back into it on Wednesday and it sold off on Thursday. However, I didn't find any trades on Thursday because it was absolutely choppy. Okay, and right now into Friday, absolutely choppy as well, invalidating a new daily bearish imbalance. So everybody, I'm really sorry to disappoint you. However, it is really choppy, and probably we wouldn't really have any sort of outlook here. Well, we kind of do. We have this hourly bearish here, so I can immediately say this low here is very juicy for liquidity. However, tapped in, it tries to push, some rejecting. So I think like we can very easily on the open once again take that liquidity, and then what happens afterwards, I have absolutely no idea, and I absolutely don't care what you think as well. So because I get some of these comments that kind of irritate me from time to time, like, why are you doing an outlook when you don't know what's gonna happen? Well, don't watch it. Go look for somebody who's gonna give you the false information, like it's gonna go there, it's gonna do that, it's gonna tap there, and you're just gonna keep taking stop losses, marrying that bias instead of learning how to flow and learning the very important fact that you cannot always know where the market's gonna go, and you don't need to know where the market's gonna go next to make money. Read Mark Douglas. Okay, so that's gold. Okay, nothing on the daily. It's kind of really stuck right now in the 50% of, let's say, of this range here. I would definitely love to see some more shorts right now towards that low, but we really need to see a little bit more of a pop to the downside. The hourly time frame is definitely more bearish. I do like the structure right now because we've kind of made this low, lower, high, lower, low, but it's not as weak. It's sold off on Thursday, but then very, very choppy. So let's see. It can do absolutely anything here, and I really don't have any zones. I don't have any levels to work with. The only level that I have is this guy here, and of course the other side. So where is the market gonna guide me? I'm gonna wait for Monday to open and show me where it wants to go. But I think like a very low hanging fruit is gonna be that low. But then again, what is gonna happen? Are we gonna break below it and keep shorting? Are we gonna sweep it and attack the opposing side? And then are we going to continue higher, or are we going to sweep again and then start attacking the opposing side? This is how I trade gold. It's a constant flow, and I really love it because I don't have to do a lot of analysis. I just show up every single day within a very precise window, within a very precise time, and I start analyzing it. And then, of course, the setup is going to get presented within the next hour or two. Very systematic as well. So that is gold. No idea where it's gonna go. I don't have a preference, buy or sell. I'm just gonna wait for the market to show me. I'm then gonna have my levels and I'm gonna flow with it and I'm gonna win. So let's see. USD JPY has been a nice pair, honestly. This one was a very easy setup here because we had that hourly bullish imbalance and that daily above us. And then I said, well, a very easy setup would be tap into that hourly and give us longs into the daily. Well, there it is, bingo. But I also said, well, guess what? The market can tap into the hourly, react, and break, build some bearishness. They were gonna attack the opposing side of the liquidity. Well, guess what? We kind of did at the end of the week. Okay. However, it developed in a very different way. Okay. So the first outlook, bingo, into the daily, and then from the daily, you have to start reading what is happening. Are we giving signs that the market wants to continue? Do we have daily bullish imbalances? Okay. Do we have anything to push the market higher, which we did not? Okay. And then the market makes a lower high, sells off again, another short seller here, sells off again, and then we had some crazy move here on Thursday. This move was impacted by some comments from US Treasury guy Besant, something for the yen, that they're going to be hiking the rate or lowering the rate or whatever, right? And then this is a massive reaction here. So right now it's a pretty interesting because we of course came into that low, but it was a very nice sweep. And a massive sweep, like with massive daily bearish candle, and suddenly that candle turns bullish. Now, the next, of course, liquidity is going to be that one. And this one, more of a low-hanging fruit. but we really have to see how it's gonna develop. So currently, again, we had that massive buy here, but is that buy the real buy? So where a lot of trades, so this is where I would always make my mistake and just watch it right now, watch it next week. I would say, okay, whoa, bullish push, we're having a break of structure, we took liquidity, the market is reversing. 50%, I'm looking for longs right now. However, look at what is happening. The market came up, took some liquidity, and then the very first thing that it starts doing is it immediately shifts the momentum. So we start getting forwardly bearish imbalances. Now, a little problem is that we also have the bullishness. So here we're having a little bit of a sandwich, what I call a sandwich situation, where you're having like a bullish and a bearish and a bullish and a bearish, and like, okay, which one is going to take over? Well, guess what? How do you know? You just read the candles. You just drop either to a lower time frame, or you can read on the same time frame, is what I call candle anatomy. You can read the candles. Is it the sweeping? Is it breaking? Like in that case, it tells me that this forward zone is actually being respected. So if right now I can drop to the 1 hourly time frame, but you can see on the 1 hourly time frame we actually have a bullish zone. So guess what? I'm gonna work with all the time frames. If the market actually invalidates that 1 hourly bullish zone, I'm going to be looking for the next liquidity. Okay, and then if the market continues to make bearish imbalances below that liquidity, okay, I'm going to be looking for the next one. Okay, however, if the market respects that 1 hourly and pops higher, taps into this reaction area by printing bullish ones, then guess what? I'm going to be looking for the opposing side, because again, I don't know what is going to happen and I don't need to know. Okay, so these are kind of the two scenarios that I would make for USD JPY. Now, of course, being a little bit more bearish on the DXY, I definitely like shorts a little bit more. I do like that very recent bearishness being provided. I also do like the overall kind of structure. It's not so bearish, honestly, because we kind of had that massive high. And then again, all the people thinking, oh, from low to high, 50%, I'm going to look for longs. Well, they got stopped. And right now, if they keep looking for longs, I do believe if the majority are looking for longs, considering that big structure, the market could potentially go down. So let's see. This is my outlook. I really need to see which direction Monday is going to pick up. Is it gonna kind of liquid? Like, it can happen in so many ways, because Monday can also be manipulation. It can show you some bullishness, but then actually turn into a fake and then reverse lower. This is why, again, flow with the markets. Don't draw expectations. Don't do anything. But generally, what I see is just the direction. Show me where they want to go. You can even use the 1 hourly time frame in that case for an immediate setup, because we're already coming from a zone. And the 1 hourly time frame right now is bullish, but if that fails, it's gonna lock the liquidity. But if it holds, it's gonna lock the next zone. So let's see how it's gonna play out. Very curious. USD JPY, by the way, is the only JPY that I trade and that my community trades as well. Let's have a quick look at EJ. So here we had a quality bullish. The market kind of consolidated and ended up taking the liquidity, and then it actually gave another long here. Longs, and then it stopped forming any imbalance. Then it just absolutely sold off in the news. Where to? Into that daily zone, and then from the daily zone it looks like it's reversing. So ooh, this one looks pretty bullish right now. So I was looking for more shorts on USD JPY, but looking at that one looks bullish. It tapped into that daily zone, massively rejected, and it's already making that what I call a MSS pattern. So we had a quality, not 4G, 4H, quality bullish, but then it also had a quality bearish, so you have to be really watchful in these type of conditions. But then the quality bearish got tapped, invalidated, and we're breaking above the liquidity here. Okay, and we're also printing a quality bullish. So this to me looks pretty bullish. Not only we created the 3G now, come on, man. Not only we made a higher low formation, higher high, so this is MSS, right? So we make a low, a lower high, then a higher low, and then a higher high. So this kind of signifies that, hey, buyers are starting to step over. In this case, I would immediately say, hey, this looks like a pretty good liquidity to me, and I would say that this will look like an amazing setup. However, this doesn't resonate with the short buys I have on USD JPY. So they're fully different. This one sold off, but then immediately shifted bullish. This one bought off, but then it shifted bearish. It's this one looked a little bit more bearish, while this one looked a little bit more bullish, but then they shifted they kind of made a different thing. So let's see. I mean, purely based on technicals, this is my setup. Okay, and then of course the other setup will be tap into that quality, not do shit, then reverse, and then target the opposing side of liquidity. So of course I'm gonna give always the two scenarios that could happen. So this is USD, Euro JPY. Looks pretty good for longs, honestly, because if Euro USD continues to go higher, then that is gonna inspire also Euro JPY to go higher. So let's see how that dynamic will play out. Currently, it just looks like longs. So let's see. GJ also, what a rocket, because the pound was a lot stronger than the euro this week. If you look at EU and GU, so GJ was also a lot stronger than EJ. We had a forward imbalance. The market beautifully pinged it on the market open, and then it just beautifully reached that. And then, of course, what happens afterwards? Do we continue higher? We did. There is your other trade. Forward bullish, tapped in, bingo, right? Did it make another one? Yes, it did. There it is. Another tap in, bingo, another trade. So beautiful trades. Beautiful two trades. Liquidity attacked, great. Daily invalidation, so I was looking for a daily imbalance. The market did actually make it, however, no pullback. So right now we're taking some crazy liquidity. So, well, not that crazy. This is a weekly liquidity point, so we can mark it up as a weekly. Transferring onto the daily time frame. All right, so we're having a lot of these daily bullish imbalances that were created, so that definitely signifies a lot of bullishness. However, these kind of lower imbalances, they can eventually just turn into what I call reaction areas. They're not really relevant, because if the market sweeps that weekly and then starts printing bearishness, then I'm gonna focus on what is happening right now. I'm not gonna do, hey, okay, 50% range and try to go long from here. No, if the market starts going bearish here, I would just keep shorting. We tapped into that daily. We got a nice reaction, but oh, this one is very mixed up right now. So what I mean by mixed up, well, bearish imbalance failed, bullish imbalance, bullish failed, bearish, bearish, bearish holding right now. We are compressing. This is a price action that you do not touch, and you just wait to see which side is really gonna take over. Okay, I'm soon gonna teach you in one of my trainings how to also trade these kind of market conditions and what to look for. But again, currently, let's say that the very recent kind of push is bearish. However, you can see we are both making lower highs, but we're also making higher lows. So what is this? It's a textbook kind of a triangle formation that we first learned at baby pips, but right now we kind of understand it on a more deeper level. So again, where is it going to guide me? You can see the 1 hourly time frame is already giving me signs that it actually wants to fail. So is it gonna really guide me towards the downside? Well, then I'm gonna attack liquidity 1 and liquidity 2. Okay, so there is liquidity number 1, make it red, and then there is liquidity number 2, and then maybe even the daily, but that's too far away. And then of course the other scenario will be, hey, buyers take over, we attack the highs, and then of course liquidity number 1 is going to be here, and then immediately liquidity number 2. They're pretty close to each other, so very likely both are going to get taken at the same time. So this is your GBP JPY. Now it is very confusing because Euro Yen gives me such a nice long setup. USD JPY is I like shorts a little bit more, and GJ I also like shorts a little bit more, but I'm not 100% just because of the structure and the compression. Okay, let's see. In such cases, again, you can see I just have to wait for the market to open and show me where it wants to go, and then I'm gonna know where I'm gonna flow to. Okay, so that is GJ. I would say I prefer the shorts a little bit more, honestly. Very clear liquidity targets with a daily potential rebalance here. So let's see how it's gonna play out. All right, congratulations. One more all-time high on the indices, well, especially ES and Nasdaq. So here is kind of a little forecast we did last week. Some quality bullish imbalances. Of course, I said, are we going to just continue higher towards all-time highs, or are we going to pull back a little bit lower? And then, of course, are the buyers going to regain strength? Well, yeah, we did pull back into that quality. Buyers got in, and then one more longs here on Wednesday. I did take some... I had a profitable week on futures. I just don't even remember which days I longed that. But then we had, when we reach all-time highs, the market gets pretty chopped up. So not a very nice time. So yes, currently, again, all-time highs. The weekly candle kind of looks like a little bit of a sweep on top. Dropping onto the daily time frame, so we have this very nice daily bullish imbalance. However, the market already tapped into it, and it already took another all-time high. So basically what you should know right now is that this daily imbalance is no longer relevant to us, because what I perceive to be the job of an imbalance is to tap in and then of course go from imbalance to liquidity, and we already did that. So what I will immediately say right now is, if the market fails to like really show me bullish signs, then it's gonna go and attack the opposing side. And as you can see, the market kind of came and swept, and it's starting to give us some bearish signs. So what I would say right now is that I have a bearish bias into that liquidity. And then of course, what is going to happen after that liquidity? Are we going to start breaking below and sell off? Well, that looks like a pretty big sell off that I drew. How much? Okay, 2%, not bad. I mean, yeah, we did make a very nice 4% drop here. So that is kind of going to be scenario number 1. And then of course you can have so many different things that are happening. It can come in, it can sweep, right? And then it can start offering us bullishness for a new all-time highs. We don't know, okay? However, again, my job as a trader is to every single day show up, okay? Because I'm a day trader. I would even say I'm a session trader. So on gold, for example, I tried to capitalize on one 4-hourly candle, and on ES as well, and on Nasdaq, I tried to capitalize also on one 4-hourly candle. So for me, it doesn't matter where the market is gonna go long term. I don't need to zoom out and say, okay, we're gonna go like, I don't know, we're gonna go here, and then from there we're gonna go there. No, all I need to know is what is the very likely outcome of a 4-hourly candle. So if I ask, for example, what is the likelihood of the next 4-hourly candle to do, for me, it's going to be to attack that liquidity. And then what happens afterwards? I don't know. I'm going to show up tomorrow. I'm going to read the context and the narrative that the market provided me before, pretty much during Asia and London, and even pre kind of London, New York mix up. And then, of course, I'm going to build all of that narrative to potentially look to see how I can capitalize on that candle here. Okay, so that is ES. Let's see. Towards that liquidity, what are we going to do later? We got to see. Nasdaq as well gave us a little bit of a pullback exactly into that 4-hourly zone, and it kind of actually took the liquidity. So there was a nice long here, but then it reversed and it came into the lower one. Did we actually make a daily zone? No, we did not. Okay, so it came into the lower one, and then it kind of gave us a little bit of a mixture. So it kind of 4-hourly bearish. Okay, not really clear, but then CPI came in and it absolutely swept here crazy. And then this candle was also pretty crazy because it was looking like a massive move up and then a massive move down and then suddenly a massive move up. But then there were some better trades, I believe, in the next days. But I don't trade Nasdaq. I only trade ES for now. But yeah, so again, longs all-time highs achieved. Now, what are we going to be doing next? On the weekly time frame, we're having a pretty crazy sweep here. Dropping onto the daily time frame. So on the daily as well, we kind of tapped into that daily zone. We reacted for a day, and right now we're coming in for a second day. Where is the next potential reaction area? This all the way down there. So are we going to reach all the way down there? Let's see. And then dropping onto the 4-hourly time frame. So there we go. We tapped into the daily. We tried to push. We failed. So then the market actually attacked the liquidity of that daily reaction. However, we don't have anything bearish on the 4-hourly. Okay, and we don't have anything bullish to stop us. So this is gonna be, for example, a major liquidity target here. This is gonna be like a low-hanging fruit, and then of course on top you can be looking even for the liquidity levels above. Okay, so and then of course, as I always say, for example, right now if I don't have any sort of zones to work with, well, my job then as a trader is very, very, very simple. It's to wait. Okay, who pays you to wait? All right, just think about it and be grateful for the job you have as a trader. You're paid to wait. Right? You're not paid to trade and click and click and click. No, you're paid to wait for the right setup at the right time, and then of course to execute on it and not screw it by getting emotional and micromanaging it. So Nasdaq, again, it can definitely go higher from here. Like this kind of looks like a complex pullback to me. On ES, it kind of looks better because it had a followed zone, tapped in, and it already went lower. However, if you carefully study that, this is the reaction from the daily imbalance on ES. Well, the reaction from the daily imbalance on NQ already got taken. Okay, so NQ is actually already faster than ES, which means that it's weaker. It didn't make a higher high here. Okay, ES made a higher high here, so ES was stronger. So if you're looking for shorts again, kind of Nasdaq will be better, but I'm gonna be needing some more zones, a closure below here to then guide me into the next liquidity, or is it gonna sweep and then guide me into the opposing side? I don't know, honestly, because again, when we don't have any zones, I don't have anything to work with. So as I said, my job is to wait. But of course, let me know in the comments. I always love hearing from you. What do you think is gonna happen? But again, that's a trick question, because guess what? You don't know. All right, finally to see YM. Wow, this is a great week on YM. Yeah, we're still very far from all-time highs, but we made some progress. We came in and took out a major high. Now, what did I expect here? Well, okay, to either guide us higher, but the market did actually make a little bit of a sell-off, but then it introduced bullishness, pulls back, bullishness, pulls back, bullishness. Oh, damn. This was a lot better this week than NQ and ES. But of course, this is oftentimes going to happen. You can either choose to be the trader that is really good at picking the right markets, or you can be like me to just trade one market, and when it's bad, I just survive, and when it's good, I thrive. Okay. Now we have two daily bullish imbalances on YM, which is pretty good. Friday ended up rejecting. So are we going to go lower into these daily imbalances? Possibly. And I actually think so, because we formed a 4-hourly bearish, indicating some sort of a bearish momentum entering. We are tapping into this 4-hourly reaction area. However, This reaction area got tapped. If you studied tapped, reacted already, and right now it's starting to break the reaction here, which to me means that, hey, it's failing. So then it's gonna drive us into the next liquidity target. So to me, can we do that as well? Maybe we could, as some sort of a manipulation and then to sell off, or we're just gonna drop lower into that daily. So okay, am I gonna give you only bearish scenario here? No. Tap into the hourly, okay, react, invalidate, bullish side of liquidity. However, I would say I prefer the shorts. The shorts to me are very clear. We're sweeping some massive weekly liquidity here. We're having daily imbalances below us. The hourly very recent bullish ones are failing. So again, if I'm asked what do I expect for the next hourly candle to do, I would say to potentially go down. Okay, but of course it can come up to take some liquidity here from that hourly imbalance and then short. Or of course it can just continue lower. Let's see, but I am more bearish biased than I'm bullish. Checking out DAX real quick. I never look at that instrument, by the way. I'm not even sure why I analyze it. Guys, leave a comment if you're watching up until now. Do you trade DAX and do you watch it? Let me know. Daily bullish imbalance. The market kind of consolidating around it, but then it still ended up going for the overall liquidity. Now, if you look at it on the daily time frame, yeah, it kind of, oops, so let me not delete the daily. So it kind of came in, okay, and then it swept here, the previous daily low, and then from there it was a very nice upside. So currently, if I have a look at what is happening right now, we are also getting another daily bullish imbalance. We are very close to all-time high, so that is a lower hanging fruit, and then of course we have that one. So I would once again say if we do pull back into that daily bullish imbalance, I'm going to be looking to see if these hourly bearish zones are actually going to fail, and then I'm going to be looking for longs towards all-time highs. Now I do not expect, but I suspect, maybe is the right word, that the US indices might make a little bit of a pullback because they're all at all-time highs, and even YM took some liquidity. So I do expect some sort of a short-term pullback. So maybe this one could potentially also make a little bit of a pullback, but we either tap into the daily, come in here, react, and then go for that, or we first tap into these, come in, and then straight go for the highs. I'm gonna stick to longs. Looks pretty good. And of course, guess what, everybody? So when you have a bullish scenario, always immediately think of the bearish one. How would the bearish one look like? Okay, break below here, bearish imbalances, then you attack the opposing side of the liquidity here. Liquidity number 1, and then liquidity number 2 is down there. Okay, always think that, because when you say, okay, bullish, then you get married to that bullish, and then you jump in and you are just one-sided and you're gonna lose this way. Okay, so that is DAX, more bullish, working from that daily imbalance. Let's see. All right, let's throw a little bit of a recap. Now on the DXY, I am a little bit more bearish bias, of course. However, we don't have any zones to work with, and it's kind of a mixed up. So on the daily time frame, we don't have any zones here. Overall bearish structure. This low here looks pretty juicy, but what I really want to see is where the market's gonna guide me. Is it gonna start making bearish zones and breaking below the liquidity, or is it gonna sweep it and reverse higher? So with that bearishness, I do like EU longs a little bit more, for example, to see how it's gonna guide me towards that high. But of course, I'm always going to be aware of the opposite side. GU also pretty mixed up, kind of, it already took some massive liquidity to the left. It sold off. Right now, it's between hourly bearish and hourly bullish. So again, I've given you many outcomes here. We're either break above for the liquidity, we either pull back into the hourly bullish and give longs, or we either tap into the hourly bullish and validate and then look for the daily bullish that is below us. Aussie dollar and NZD dollar, both are looking shorts, okay? So let's see how they're going to play out. We just have to wait a little bit to truly confirm that I actually want to go lower, and then we're going to be targeting the low-hanging fruits. Gold, absolute nonsense right now. Very unclear, very choppy. I am going to be looking for some sort of breakouts, some sort of a direction, but I honestly trade gold only for 4 hours. So I trade only 1 4-hourly candle, so I don't need like that many hard time frames and that much clear direction, because if I know where it's going to go into a session, which liquidity is going to attack, then I can very easily capitalize on it every single day. USD JPY, pretty mixed up as well. Like, it made that bullish push, but then it has this bearish push. Like, structure is a little bit confusing. So again, I really need to see which one is going to take over. Are we going to take over here in the 1 hour and push lower towards this liquidity? Then after that liquidity gets taken, are we going to continue lower? Or are we going to hold from that 1 hourly and then push higher towards the opposing side? Because Euro JPY is giving me a very nice long setup here. We're having a MSS formation here, higher highs and higher lows. Hourly bullish imbalance to guide us into the liquidity. At the same time, GJ is looking pretty bearish, but it's a little bit compressed here. So we really have to see which side is going to take over and where we're going to drive price, because we have beautiful zones to retest to the downside. So really curious to see where USDN is going to go. I do suspect a little bit of a pullback to be occurring on the indices, because they all took all-time high. Well, not all, YM did not. But all-time highs here, this on the ES to me is liquidity, so I'm going to be looking to trade into that. And then what happens afterwards? Are we going to sweep and go higher? Are we going to sell off? We're going to see. Nasdaq also showing a little bit of weakness. It did not make a new high. It's failing that daily bullish imbalance, which to me is going to open up this liquidity point. So we're going to see if the market is going to guide us there or if it's going to sweep in reverse. YM as well, it has 2 daily bullish imbalances below us, so if I can trade into those, that's going to be amazing. But I've of course given you even the bullish scenario. And DAX as well has a daily bullish imbalance that is just about to get tapped. We can see if it's going to be providing any longs. So hopefully you enjoyed the outlook, everybody. Hopefully you learned something from it. Let me know in the comments if you did. Let me know how you performed this week, and of course I'm going to catch up with you in the next outlook.